Elizabeth, you had something that you thought of before?
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Do you know if, I haven't gone up to where they're building the new school, I keep saying I'm going to go up, but are they going to have an area for the kids to play and so on? Is it a big area, a small area? Does anybody know?
I saw their sketch, they have a playground area, but they still have maintained fields in the back. They have some level spots like it looked like for big enough for a soccer field, but they do have a playground area that's secure around the building. Was that in the front or the back? We saw that fenced area they showed.
It was in front.
Yeah, I thought it was in front too, between the parking lot and the main building.
Maybe one parking lot.
Is that? Did we get a copy of that site plan they had for the building? We probably have one.
We haven't done all.
Well, I could call I'll ask Buns behind the phone. Do we on the school board?
It'd be nice to see that site plan again.
Hey, Tommy, maybe you can bargain with the school to put a ball field up there.
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
That's out of it's nice when it's higher up, it's out of the floodplains. Makes it a lot easier.
Because it can be ample parking too.
But it would have to be for public use too. You couldn't just make it for, as if it could be, like,
Those taxpayers.
we got these other ball people when they come in, they need a field to practice. Maybe the school maybe they'll put a ball field if we bargain a little bit.
Canamac Youth Baseball is 62 teams.
Wow.
Multi-purpose field, you can't just put a ball field, multi-purpose soccer and ball field somehow.
Those students and that.
They could turn that soccer field up there at the South Point to a ball field. Probably be more useful because it's not being used now.
It would be.
What, the soccer fields?
Yes.
In the township?
The one over at South Point.
It's not being used.
Doesn't look like it.
This
Looks
year,
like a cow pasture, to be serious with you.
this year, the third field will be in use.
That's darn
It takes
shame.
2 years after it's seeded before they can play on it for the turf to develop. All right, but that's a good point. We can talk to the school to see if we can work something out instead of maybe we don't have to spend money down there.
All I can do is tell you no.
Is there a year completion on the school being done, finalized?
Yeah, 2017, September, kids will move, occupy it.
That'll work. He's happy about that.
He won't be happy once he gets to go.
I don't know, the other four like it, so, yeah.
Tom told me before the meeting started that he's giving an award to the youngest person here.
That's good to know. That's good to know. He likes Pampers, by the way.
After the meeting, he'll take care of you.
Anybody else have any?
I didn't quite understand. If they're going, when you were referring to building a road up there, going an entryway to go to the school, who owns that property?
The first 70 acres you see where the slate dump was and where the ABB Environmental.
The one that had a business up there? No?
I don't think they actually operated. They bought the property, and they're the ones that did whatever cleanup was done. They're the ones that did it. Now, if they have a parent company in Europe, I think that could be the case, but we deal with a company in New England. It's called ABB Environmental.
They just moved somewhere in Virginia.
Yeah, that's right. They did this. But anyhow, we made a drawing, and they asked for it, and they're looking at it right now.
So there isn't anybody else that you have to deal with in order to put in that roadway?
No, Koski's, John Koski owns the property between the Muse State-owned property and the Muse property. So and he's agreed to cooperate because his property is owned industrial. And someday he has the right to develop his property. And if he ever did decide to develop it industrially, their only access right now is on Burnside Road. And that's a terrible road for an industrial access. So if we build a proper road right away through there to go through his property, he'd donate the right of way, and you'd expect to get to use it then. And would rather see him use a road coming out on a state road than his industrial use on Burnside Road. No matter how much we pave it, it'll never be a good road for an industrial park.
What about over there on 98?
Yeah, I know the question came up about there's the blinking light at O'Hara, the 980. We've been talking about it, but
3 years.
the latest thing we're working on is our engineers doing with our traffic engineer to see if we can improve that intersection on the Chartiers Run side to raise that intersection up. And we're under the impression as lay people that it won't really cost that much money to fix the intersection rather than spending money on warnings about the bad intersection. So we've authorized our traffic engineer to do a design to see what it's going to cost. He said, I'd rather put that money into fixing it than putting it into lights to warn people about it.
Is there any way, I'm sure you guys have dealt with this before, but is there any way to reduce speed limits on township-owned residential roads from 25 to 20 or 15?
No, the lowest by law we can set them at is 25 miles per hour unless it's an alley, and then we can lower it to 15. But that's by state law.
Yes, that sign, I guess it's the state that's responsible for the one coming down 980 that has the big diamond that's laying face down in the weeds. And they picked it up 3 times and leaned it against, thank you very much. Every time the wind blows, you go down the road, it's laying flat.
Notified, darling.
Pardon me?
They were notified that that thing was laying down. It was frozen when we pried it up off the ground. It's been laying there for a while.
Well, it's flat down again, there's no...
Until the end of this week to do it, and I'm gonna send a crew out there and we'll put it back up.
Is that the state?
It's the state.
It's the
Yes.
state's responsibility.
So they've been notified. I sent them a picture of their sign.
Okay,
That's headed towards Canonsburg.
yes,
350 feet, 325 feet from the intersection.
yes.
From which intersection? I don't know where it is.
From
I got a couple signs for O'Hare coming into the intersection, some lead-in signs to indicate that there's a stop sign ahead. So we just picked those up last week, and we'll do what we can on the O'Hare side.
Okay. But this is the state.
Yeah, it's a state. Yeah, I sent them 2 notes last week with pictures, so.
Well, Muse Bishop in 980, that's worse than O'Hara Road in 980.
Yeah,
Down
Muse
No,
Bishop-
not at all, not at all,
Muse Bishop and.
Huh?
not at all.
That's your opinion, I'm telling my opinion.
Well, if you've seen as many accidents as we've seen on that road,
It's
then
still-
you have my opinion
It's still,
too.
when you pull out of that thing at that restaurant, them cars are on your back end within a second.
They are. That's not necessarily, it's not
My
necessarily.
opinion, your opinion, my opinion is different.
People are speeding.
Muse Bishop Road.
People are still going 45, 50 through
It's
there.
full of 10 years, I've been trying for almost 10 years to get some sort of something going on at 980 and O'Hara and Chartiers. And I ask every meeting that I go to, and somebody should just come along to the fire department and watch how many accidents that we have to clean up and injuries that we have to take care of because the state, apparently the township has no influence over the state to put stop signs, 4-way stop signs. The only way they'll do it if there's a fatality.
Excuse me, Tony, but isn't most of the accidents that are coming down, that happen, are the cars coming from Chartiers Run that either are trying to make a left-hand turn onto 980 or going straight across? Is it mostly the cars that are coming across
As
980?
you come up to the stop sign like this,
Yes.
you can't see over the guardrail.
Absolutely.
It's all the cars.
Right.
That's what we're studying right now for a design change.
But Tom, they've been studying it for years.
No, we've never, PennDOT has never agreed to a study, so we're paying for it with our engineer. We're doing it, and that's a state road. Chartiers Run is the state road. O'Hara's a township road. The other 3 are 980 and Chartiers Run. That's state road, but they will not study it, so we're doing it. We just authorized our engineer
You're
last week.
studying 980 or O'Hara?
No, Chartiers Run. Exactly what Paul talked about. That
belly. There's a belly in the road right there. They limit sight distance because of the guidelines. So if they were to pull a string line off the back of that bridge to the intersection there, the shoulder of the intersection, it probably needs 4 or 5 feet of fill put in it, and then that would improve the sight distance, left and right, coming off the Chartiers. So, but it's a PennDOT road.
And he'll be able to give us an estimate too on the cost, and like I said, I'd rather spend money on that than on just warning lights.
I did talk to Chartiers Township Manager Jody Noble also to get with PennDOT to see if she can get permission to put a sign further up Chartiers Run, because that's a state road, like dangerous intersection ahead, something to that effect to give these drivers a warning. I still think what the chief said, this is human driver error. I was there yesterday and today, and I pulled out. I have a small car. When I pull up there, I can see all ways, and I probably still have about 8 or 9 feet before the front of my car hits the white edge line. And I pulled out, and I watched people behind me where they stop. They still have 8 to 9 feet off the white edge line of 980. They're looking and they pull out. So it definitely is human driver error.
We both have, me and my wife both have small vehicles.
I have no
We never have had a
problem.
problem.
I looked to the
Never.
left, there's a guide rail about 150 feet. There's one little curve, but you could still see. You have ample sight distance up there, even being further back in the intersection. But, you know, we seem to have accidents once a month.
16 last year, 3 this year already.
We cut that. I send the guys down to cut that with the tractor, and sometimes we get weed whackers down there to cut that, even though PennDOT owns it, we get down there and cut that thing. So,
Well, we'll let you know once we get that evaluation from our traffic engineer.
I have another question concerning